Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. We're focusing on Ogun Investors Forum. We're joined now by Segun Abiodun, Commissioner for Housing. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you.
Well, I'll be surprised if you're not inundated with requests for housing, given the figures that have been reeled out in terms of the amount of investment that Ogun State has attracted ever since they've done the first and the second investment forum. Could you tell us what plans do you have this time for many of those requests?
We are taking our plans in a slightly different direction. Now we're focusing on the larger picture because of the inundation, because we've been inundated with so many requests, as you have rightly said, we're looking to plan cities now, to have planned layouts, looking for people who can partner with us to achieve that, so that we have communities which are properly laid out. As you jolly well know, we have the metro city that we're working on the expressway. We have New Makun city that we're also working on. We have the pilot program, which is the PNB estates that we launched recently with the president. And we have other nodes here and there all over Ogun State, which we are planning. The aim is to achieve growth through a regulated, pre-planned way of doing things, which is different from what currently happens. So when you fail to plan, you more or less plan to fail. So we want to avoid that. What
timeline do you have for those projects, the Makun one, the President Buhari's estates? Because many thought that by now they should have gone very far.
Our pilot program, which is the PNB estates, as you can see, is on board already. And ideally, for housing projects, government should just create an enabling environment. But we realize that when you are actually trying to open up areas and open up virgin locations, the government has to come in to show the possibilities, and that is why we did the PNB estate. I think with this one and the pressure that is on with PNB, a lot of developers and real estate investors will see the potential in Ogun State and the pressure and the numbers, and we actually jump on the wagon and see that, okay, in this area, this is how they can invest and get a good return.
You know, there are those who are concerned that individuals have made some investment in places like Arekpo, for instance.
Sorry?
Individuals have made some investment in places like Arekpo, for instance. Yes. They build, but they're also wondering what Ogun State is contributing towards the efforts of the individuals to increase housing, because you're going to have an increase in population.
Yes, like I said, we are planning on having planned cities and planned towns, because the problem is that a lot of these places, including Arepo, they're not planned from get-go, and that more or less is because of the pressure that has come into the neighborhood and because there is no plan by the previous government. So what we are saying is this: we want a structured growth in Ogun State.
What about the issue of costs of these houses? Because that has always scared a lot of people away.
Yes. Well, that's why we actually have a three-tiered prawn in Ogun State. We have the Ministry of Housing, we have OPIC, and we have Housing Corporation. So more or less, we're targeting different groups. In the Ministry of Housing, we look at the bigger picture. We're doing layouts, we're doing regional towns, we're working to develop a template that others can now build on. In the Ministry of Housing, they do housing for the medium income, for the people like you that live in Arepo, journalist estate, and all the other people in the middle income and upper income bracket. And then we have the Ministry of Housing, who looks solely at low income housing and budget housing.
So if I become an OPIC, is it OPIC that does the medium income?
Medium, well, they do a little bit of both, but they do more or less medium income housing.
What are those incentives you've been able to put in place to make some people, leave maybe Lagos to come to Ogun State and say, perhaps I should live in Ogun State and also maybe work in Lagos?
Okay, that's a good question, and that is what this conference is about. For the past 4 years, we've done a lot in terms of enhancing our road network. And if you can see everywhere, there's no part of Ogun State that it hasn't been touched. Ota, Ifo, the west, and all the east, just to ensure that it doesn't take long to get to where you are going. Also, we are also starting the phase 1 of the rail line, which eventually, when it's completed within the next 2 years, hopefully.
Actually, I was driving at, sorry to cut you there, I was driving at a system that will give maybe affordable housing to people.
Okay.
Then you tell yourself, hey, come on, I can get it cheaper and better in Ogun State.
Yes.
I can easily come live in Ogun State and I come to work from Ogun State to other states. So is there a place, or should I say, a scheme? I don't want to use the word low-cost housing because over the years that hasn't actually been properly handled. So is there a scheme in place where people can come in and say this is what we can latch onto and get proper housing in Ogun State?
Yes. That's why I was saying that the Housing Corporation, they deal with that essentially. That's what they do, to ensure that there's housing for workers. And for those in that income bracket, there's a particular income bracket that they speak to. And they are looking towards, and they have several of these projects dotted all over Ogun State.
Is there anyone now that it's being subscribed to, and how can people access it?
Okay, there is the one at Idiaba that they're about to start. That I think is 500 houses. Then there is the AK Degun, which actually is a workers' estate. And then there's playing fields, which is finished already.
So do you have any target for perhaps the next one that will be finished so people can look forward to that?
There's one, the one which has just started, the 500 units one. Perhaps within a year, that should be complete. But I mean, you can always, but if you go to website, you can always latch onto the program right now.
All right, Segun Abiodun, Commissioner for Housing, thank you very much indeed for coming on this morning.
Thank you.
Well, we'll be back in a moment. Don't go away.